Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and what another day of the wonderful little impeachment has brought. But actually, I've got some thoughts on that, and I wanted to share them with you. I'm going to say right up front, though, that Richard, the guy that likes to post the interesting comments on my pages, on my videos, I'm going to tell you right up straight, this is not a video for you. You might as well just toddle on to another video, because frankly, I'm probably going to babble a little bit because I am really tired tonight. So if you don't like that, that's fine. There are lots of other patriots you can go listen to who have more stamina than I do. So, I'm just going to encourage you to do that. Now, for the rest of you, here we go. I have several things. I tell you, folks, there's so much information that has come into me today. And, I just don't hardly even know where to start. But what I'm going to do is go through the majority of these that I have up. There's some articles, some tweets, different things that I think you need to be aware of. And, it's just been a crazy day. You didn't miss anything on the hearings, okay? It's the same stuff being rehashed over and over. And here's a question that I really think that our senators need to be thinking of is, if this whole case is so obvious and, the evidence is overwhelming, why do the Democrats keep using the same handful of clips of a few witnesses? Like there's about three witnesses that they use all the time, and they use the same clips over and over again. So if the evidence is so overwhelming, as they like to say, then why aren't they using overwhelming amount of clips? Surely out of 17 witnesses, I think that's what they had, they could find more than 3 to do all the clips from. But the reason they can't is because those 3 were the only ones that said what they needed them to say to prove their case. So it's just going to be very interesting. I can hardly wait until the defense starts. So I think we have, one more day of this? Oh, please. But yeah, I didn't rest enough today. It's just been an overwhelming day, because you know who, the 17th letter of the alphabet, was posting quite a bit today and gave us some more information to look into. And so anyway, let me just point out, let me find my list here. I got a list. Some of the things that I wanted to point out, Nadler started things out this morning, and he said it was an impeachable offense to meddle with electors. Gee, isn't that what Hillary Clinton did? That she meddled with the electors so they would, so Bernie would be out. And I apologize for stuttering and stammering, folks. I just don't have the energy to be editing this tonight. So, this is pretty much what Hillary did. And then when it finally got to the Electoral College, they messed with the electors there. So, yeah, it's just so funny. Well, it's sadly funny that they keep doing this, that whatever they accuse us of doing, they are already doing or have done. So I just thought that was very interesting. Nadler he was just really boring this morning. He was giving us all a history lesson. Yeah, Nadler giving a history lesson. Just let your mind go to that for a minute. You'll understand. It was excruciating. Now, I've had history teachers that were interesting, and I've had boring. Well, he fell into the boring category. So anyway, he should not seek a job as a teacher. Let's put it that way. So then I saw, they kept using the phrase "in the loop" a lot, and they were pointing out, making a big deal about pointing out that Pence was in the loop and Pompeo were in the loop. Okay? Everyone was in the loop. So I started thinking about all this, and here's my conclusion, folks. This is what this impeachment is really about, because we all know how it's going to end. It's like, having a book and you read the last few pages, you know how it's going to end, and then why bother reading it? It's just, this is where we're at. But the reason that they did this, I think the reason they're doing all this, now I could be wrong, but I think the reason they're doing all this is probably because they're trying to set up things for the 2020 election. Now, obviously, they know they can't win. Okay, Trump is going to win by a landslide, especially with all of the antics and stuff that's going to happen in the very near future. So let me kind of give you a heads up on that when we get there. I've got some things to share with you. And so on this, when we're talking about this setting things up, see, they need to have some way to delegitimize Trump's presidency. And they've been trying that. I mean, that's what they've been trying all along, is to claim that he's that he's delegitimized, that he's not legitimate. Okay. And even in that document that I showed you, the first brief that they did, they had, they had the thing there, the phrase where they were talking about how if the Ukrainians did that particular investigation, it would cause the perceived illegitimacy of Trump. I'm sorry, my mouth isn't working right tonight. The perceived illegitimacy of the Trump presidency to seem more legitimate. I can't remember the exact phrase, but anyway, it talked about the way it said it. It was like it was saying he is not a legitimate president, and I really think that's what they all believe, that he's not legitimate. So, Hillary was the only one who was going to be legitimate. It was her turn. She was supposed to. So I kind of wonder if what they're doing is they're sowing the seeds of that question in the American people's minds. So when the Trump landslide happens, they can, enlist their little buddies in the press to start some wrap-up smears and to make it seem like their anonymous sources will say that it was not a legitimate election because of foreign interference. And so therefore Trump is not a legitimate president. And they're including Pence in all of this. So if on the outside chance that they get a conviction on Trump, of saying that he's not the legitimate president, or they impeach him again, or however Nancy Pelosi, like she said in the last video, I played that clip, I don't know, she's got some plans and she thinks she can get him out sooner than the election. But if they did that, then they could easily say, well, we've got to impeach Pence too. Because if Pence was in the loop on all this, he knew everything that Trump was doing and he didn't do anything about it to stop it. So see, it's impeaching them too. And Pompeo is in on this too. They are trying to get him in the loop too. Or to get him in the loop. They keep saying that he's in the loop because they need to discredit him as well. And so it's not just Pence, but it's Pompeo too. Those two are very strategic for him. Pompeo, because, as Secretary of State, he knows what Trump is doing. He knows Trump's policy, and he's the one who also has access and the power to start releasing some of the Hillary stuff. Now, I know you're probably saying, why haven't they released them yet? Why haven't they released the Biden emails? Because there are some emails and texts and stuff, I guess, that have to do with Hunter Biden and Burisma in the Department of State and the interactions with some of those people. Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson asked for those, and I did a video on that. So they need to get the dirt on Pompeo too, because they're trying to delegitimize pretty much anyone who is in Trump's inner circle, the people Trump can really trust, which, there's not a lot in Washington. It's tough, but evidently they're, succeeding in that. All right, so anyway, the White House has done some tweets, and I think you need to see what they say because they're kind of eye-opening, and they came out as far as I know, they came out today. Maxine Waters has chanted impeach 45 since 2017. Democrats' first impeachment resolution came that summer. More followed in November 2017. The same happened in December 2017, January 2018, March 2019, May 2019, and July 2019. This was never about Ukraine. And I think you already know that. And here's an article from the National Review. Again, I'll put all the links down below, just like I usually do. So that was one of them that they had. And then they did a series, and this one I thought was really interesting. Today, congressional Democrats are asking you to do something they couldn't do over the course of 3+ years. Pretend this impeachment is about anything other than partisan revenge. Their drive to impeach President Donald Trump began before he even took the oath of office. And then it goes, I mean, look at this. There's a whole series of them. Impeachment is already on the lips of pundits, newspaper editorials, constitutional scholars, and even a few members of Congress. Politico, April 2016, before nomination. The impeachment The impeachment speculation began well before Trump's victory. The New Republic, November 2016. I mean, this is listing these media people that were part of, the coup, essentially, setting things up even before Trump had been elected. The campaign to impeach President Trump has begun, the Washington Post, 19 minutes after President Trump was sworn in. Whispers about impeachment, the most familiar constitutional procedure for removing a president, began to circulate even before Trump had taken the oath of office, The Guardian, March 2017. The battle to lead Trump's potential impeachment. Politico, December 2017. Then they go on, they say, Dem hoping to replace Conyers, pushes Trump impeachment, The Hill, April 2018. And Ayanna Pressley puts Donald Trump impeachment on to-do list, Boston Herald, September 2018. Democratic Majority Whip, impeachment has never been taken off the table, NPR, April 2019. And so, they have all of this. Stop using this official account for political purposes. Yeah, right. Okay. No, that's not going to happen because this is the White House and they're going to have to support the president. It's the executive branch, folks, and he's the head of the executive branch. So anyway, yeah, go back and read some of Obama's. You'll find out. Yeah, there is an archive, I think. You'll find out that he was using it similarly. It just wasn't as obvious because he wasn't being impeached, although he should have been. Oh, well, anyway. And then this is a Gateway Pundit. Here we go, happening tomorrow. And tomorrow, in this case, they mean like the 24th, which is Friday, I think. I don't know. I kind of lost track of days. All I've been doing is sitting and watch these people jabber. It's just crazy that there's not anything new they're saying. It's all the same thing over and over again. That's what's really mind-numbing about it, that they are saying the same thing, just in I can't even talk, slightly different words, because it really is. It's the same stuff. Anyway, so Rudy to begin revealing top-level Democrats making millions of dollars selling their public office. Okay, folks. You remember that Sidney Powell said something big was going to happen on Friday. Well, she said epic. Friday was going to be epic. So there's going to be something happen with Mike Flynn and then Rudy's stuff. It could be that they're tied together, because if they prove all these Democrats making millions, maybe that's connected into exonerating Flynn. So that should be interesting. And then here's Rudy's actual post. He says, starting tomorrow, we will begin cracking through the swamp's media cover-up of top-level Democrats selling their public office, resulting in multi-millions in Ukraine and the conspired attempt with foreign officials to destroy the Trump candidacy. Yep. Gonna be interesting to see what Rudy has. And then this came out today. And the 17th letter of the alphabet pointed us to this. But essentially, the DOJ told the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court in December that it now thinks, quote, there was insufficient predication to establish probable cause to substantiate 2 of its 4 applications to wiretap ex-Trump aide Carter Page. And I've got the actual document, but this goes on. He has more than one. Judge Boasberg says in a newly declassified order that DOJ has, quote, concluded in view of the material misstatements and omissions that the court's authorizations in 2-page FISAs were not valid. DOJ didn't take a position on whether the other 2 were lawful. And then he goes on and says the FISC ordered the government to produce a bunch of additional information, including how it will wall off whatever info it gained from the page wiretaps, and to explain what, quote, related investigations that might be going on about those FISA applications. And so here's the link to it. I'll also put the link down below. This is a big deal. The Justice Department is conceding that 2 of the 4 FISA applications it used to conduct surveillance of former Trump campaign aide Carter Page were not lawful. And it's not defending the legality of the other 2 applications. And he goes on, he says, story, U.S. Justice Department says it should not have continued spying on former Trump advisor. I mean, this is huge, folks. This is big, because remember when they got that FISA, for Carter Page, the very first one, they got it because they wanted to spy on Trump, and they knew he was in the Trump campaign, and anybody he talked to, then they could also spy on whoever those people talked to. So if Carter Page talked to, say, Don Jr., then Don Jr., of course, talked to his dad. There they had him. And that's what they were doing. So now they've come out and they've said, hey, guess what? They were illegal. Now, if they were illegal, which we know they were, according to this, then that makes anything that came as a result of them fruit of the poisonous tree. So there you go. You got it. And it has to be thrown out. So possibly this is going to be the exoneration for Flynn. I'm not sure, but it possibly is. Because remember, Flynn was being surveilled. They had a FISA warrant on Flynn. So he was part of that. And this is the big thing. Remember, folks, I've been telling you for a while, there were 4 FISAs here, at least. It was not for like Carter Page's first one and then the renewal. No. It was 4 separate. It was one on Flynn. It was one on Manafort. It was one on Papadopoulos, and it was one on Carter Page. And there is one coming that we haven't seen yet, but it's going to be coming, folks. It's on Ted Cruz. And remember, we've been saying this for, a year now? More than a year? Those who know the 17th letter of the alphabet, he said it back then. And people laughed at us back then. But you know what? It's come out and it's true. So anyway, here's the actual document itself. It's only 2 pages long, so there's not a whole lot to it. And unless you have the actual other documents to go through, it's not going to make a lot of difference. But they did say these 2, 17-375 and 17-679, were not valid. So the government apparently does not take a position on the validity of the authorizations in the other 2. So, yeah, it's not very long again, but it's real legal speak. And it just basically says what I already told you. So there you go. I'll leave the link down below. You can read it for yourself if you want to. But they really are questioning it. And now that that is being questioned, that is very good news, because that's how they got all this information and everything got started. So, woohoo. And this is just the Wall Street Journal article. Justice Department believes it should have ended surveillance of Trump advisor earlier. And it's not even that, because, ending it earlier is not really the issue, because 2 of them shouldn't have been started in the first place. And that's really the key. So it definitely is coming out the truth. Yay. Now I wanted to show you this because this is kind of an update on what I showed you before about going on in Puerto Rico. Well, guess what? Yeah, this guy posted this and let's say January 23rd, 5:37 p.m. and the people of Puerto Rico are carrying a guillotine to the governor's mansion right now. Now it's really hard to see. You can't really see it in this. Here's the two sides of it. I think this is the bottom of it, and then up at top they have something that's like a kind of blade. But so might be something. Oh, here's another one. Here's more about it. So I don't know. See, I don't know if it's an actual blade or if it's just a pennant. I don't know. It really is very hard to see, but this was somebody who was there and took the shots. So, here he says, a few editorial notes, 99% sure it was just symbolic and not usable. Couldn't see 100% in the rain, dark, but 99% sure. There was a lot of anger in the air, but also party energy that seemed to be at the summer protests. Pouring rain did nothing to deter the protesters. So, yeah, the Puerto Ricans are not happy. They're not. And they shouldn't be, because their leaders, how many people died or got sick because they didn't have those supplies that were stuck away in some warehouse. Yeah. Okay, now, Amazing Polly, a lot of you follow her, so you might want to check up with her on this. I'm pretty sure she'll probably do a video on it. But she just posted this. This was at 4:49 tonight, and she had this link here. Imagine this. Your 15-year-old child is depressed. You take them to regular appointments at the specialist, then one day they don't come back out. Instead, the doctor informs you that your mature minor child just ended their life with the help of the staff. And remember, she's from Canada, I believe. And this was the document. I'll leave the copy of the document, the link to it down below. But it's a Canadian document. It's kind of odd how it goes, the pages. But it's evidently something that allows mature minors, to be able to decide it's time to end their life. And that's a little scary, especially since parents wouldn't have anything to say about it. Now, of course, the 17th letter of the alphabet posted this. And I just want to tell you something that happened after he did, because the researchers, they kind of are playful types and they like to do some things. And so, yeah, there were some changes in this for a very short period of time. It's been changed back now, but I want to show you what the changes were, because I caught them. Sometimes I'm like not there or not able to get onto the research board, but this time I was there when it happened, because I was looking for some stuff, and sure enough, I got to this right as it was happening. I didn't get one of them complete, but somebody else had it, so I've got it. So I'm just going to show you the one that happened up here. And then I'm going to scroll down, because the other ones came here and it was changed slightly. So, yeah. Now, of course, they've been changed back. And for those who don't know, Geodis means God Emperor of the United States. So, yeah, it's kind of like a term of endearment that the researchers like to use for POTUS, just kind of elevating him a little bit more. So I wanted to share those with you and let you see what they were doing. It's just sometimes they like to play. And I think too, when they do that, somebody on the board was saying, well, I can't imagine the 17th letter of the alphabet team thinking that's funny. And it's like, no, I'm sure they do. They have a sense of humor, or they wouldn't be in these forums. You gotta have a sense of humor. They play around a lot. Anyway, this is an article I thought you would like to see. A DUI in Pennsylvania could cost you your Second Amendment rights. Yeah, looks like they're clamping down in Pennsylvania here. What's going on in the East Coast? I mean, that's pretty serious there. If you just get a DUI. Now, I'm not happy at all with people that get DUIs, because that puts other people at risk. It risks everybody's life involved. And so I don't at all recommend that, and I don't condone it. But, should you lose your Second Amendment right on that? I don't think so. Okay, Jennifer Rubin. Now, here is Jennifer Rubin. She is a conservative. Look at this. She calls herself a conservative blogger at the Washington Post. And she's an MSNBC contributor, recovering lawyer and friend of this at Israel. Okay, so anyway, that's who she is. Now, first of all, because she's working for those outlets, it makes me question if she really is conservative. Well, no fear. I found out she's not. So here it is. This is what she said. This is the most brilliant legal presentation I have heard. None comes close. The tone, the facts, the anticipated defenses. I am in awe. Okay, somebody, some people like to say, why are you laughing all the time? You gotta laugh at something like this, don't ya? I mean, this is insanity. This person, and like down here, I love some of the responses. You're totally joking, right? This is by far the worst thing ever to happen in America. What will you say when the unsealed indictments come out and you realize how corrupt they all are? This was, by the way, 2:57 p.m. would have been Jerry Nadler-ish, I think. I don't know who was talking at the time. Like I said, I do it at double speed, so I waited until about 3 o'clock to start watching. Oh, and I had to stop several times. But anyway, I thought that was a good one, too. Yeah, there's several of them. And of course, they're all like, yeah, that's just, yeah. That's how I felt when I read it. It's like, yes. Your standards are extremely low. Oh, I mean, this is what the Washington Post thinks is a conservative. That's hilarious. And so there's this post right here, which is a video. I'm going to play part of that video for you. So here we go.
What we should be doing is shunning these people. Shunning, shaming these people is a statement of moral indignation that these people are not fit for polite society. It's not only that Trump has to lose, but that all his enablers have to lose. We have to collectively, in essence, burn down the Republican Party. We have to level them, because if there are survivors, if there are people who weather this storm, they will do it again.
That is a Washington Post columnist by the name of Jennifer Rubin, doubling down on her attacks of former and current Trump administration members, calling for the GOP to figuratively be burned down.
Syndicated radio host Larry Elder, the sage of South Central, joins us now to react. Good morning to you, Larry.
Good morning,
What's
Haley.
your
How are
reaction?
you? Well, there's no cure for Trump derangement syndrome, is there? What she said was absolutely absurd. It perpetuates the narrative that Donald Trump has engaged in some sort of hostile takeover of the Republican Party. Gallup asked Americans in April if they thought that Donald Trump was too liberal. 17% thought so. 18% thought George W. Bush was too liberal. 38% think that Donald Trump's views are about right. 36% thought that George W. Bush's views were about right. 39% believe that Donald Trump is too conservative. The same number believe that George W. Bush was too conservative. The point is that people perceive Donald Trump and George W. Bush to be ideological mirrors. So how is it that the Republican Party should be burned down because of what Donald Trump has done to it? He's done nothing to it, as far as most Americans are concerned.
88% of Republicans support him at the very least. I've seen numbers even higher than that. But what about the fact that the word she used, burn him down, burn down the party? There can't be any survivors. Where's that come from?
You tell me. What about that psychiatrist who was on CNN on the weekend who said that in this century, Donald Trump is more destructive than Mao, Hitler, and Stalin were in the last century, and may be responsible for many more deaths than they were? I mean, where do you go from there? What do you do with that? I have no idea what to say.
You know, and the thing about Jennifer Rubin at the Washington Post is she's their conservative columnist. That's what they call her.
Well, that's why they hire her. They hire these columnists who purport to be conservatives, they purport to be Republicans, and they dump on the Republican Party and they dump on Trump. That's why they hired Bret Stephens, the New York Times did. That's why they've got David Brooks. They hire these guys that purport to be Republicans when, in fact, all they're doing is trashing the Republican Party. That's why they got their gigs.
Yeah. So, is she a conservative? I don't think so. Not that I can tell. Anyway, if you want to burn down the whole Republican Party and just listen to how they talk about us, those of us who voted for Donald Trump, it is just amazing how much hatred there is for us because that's what we did. How dare we do that? You know? Anyway, so I wanted to show you some others. I totally agree. I wish Representative Schiff was running for president. He's brilliant and a great patriot, standing for democracy, the Constitution, and rule of law. It is bringing tears to my eyes to hear someone who loves this country and defend it. Really? Seriously? And this person said, you need to raise your standards. You clearly have none or are as morally bankrupt as Schiff is. Oh, and I said, too bad it's all fiction. Just wait. The real evidence is about to be brought to the attention of the American people. Fiction can't stand against actual facts. That's a surprise. Was your account hacked? You don't get out much, do you? And then, of course, they called all of us coming here to say that was crazy. More like bot like ad hominem attack. DJT is like a licensing magnet for this stuff. Yeah, right. Adam Schiff is an American hero. There you go. You heard it here. Oh, here in Germany, we broadcast live and everyone says, why does Adam Schiff not run for president? He's just brilliant. See, there are people out there. Sometimes I pay more attention to the patriots and I don't show you some of the other stuff that the people that don't approve of President Trump are posting. And I wanted to make sure you understood that there are some people who are on the other side. And, I've heard some very fine lawyers. Schiff has earned a place among them. Oh my goodness. This is just, you should be in a straitjacket. Someone somewhere along here, and I don't know, it's probably buried in the responses or something, said they were from his district. And I think it was probably the one here that said he should be running for president. I don't know. But one of them said that they were from his district and they just loved him and they were so happy that they put him in office. And I posted this meme, which showed them, yeah, hello, so you're happy that your district is the #1 human trafficking district in the entire world? Yeah, that's not exactly something I'd be proud of, right? So yes, folks, this is what the Washington Post considers a conservative blogger. Yep, this is it. So there is a lot of craziness out there, and I did want to show it to you, but, not everybody's crazy. There are a lot of us that are very intelligent people that are trying to sift through and find all the truth, and more, I'm seeing a lot of people walking away from the Democrat Party because of this craziness. So that's what I've got for you on this one. I wanted to just, give you a little bit of update on what happened today. I don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. I hope they tie it up fast, but I'm not looking forward to that. I don't think they will. They've been kind of sticking with the long time anyway. So, yeah, that's what's going on. I want you to be aware, though, that remember, Sidney Powell said Friday is going to be epic. So she's coming out with something on Friday. She knows something is happening on Friday. So that is going to be good. And then Rudy Giuliani, maybe that's what she knows, but Rudy Giuliani is going to be putting a bunch of stuff out there. So, I think it's going to be a big day. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to try to get rested up so I can enjoy it if it's going to be a lot of the things that I think it's going to be. Oh, and with the state funeral thing, I think that could be a possibility for a diversion because, you know, if you have one of those, it takes like a whole week out of things and slows everything down. And I would assume that'd be the only thing that would allow them to put an impeachment on hold. So I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to shell the peanut or possibly, you know, there are some other names that I have heard bantered around. You know, of course, RBG, or whatever, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And RGB is colors, you know, and I always go to that first, it seems like. RBG, and then you have Bernie, maybe. And some people said the Queen. And so, I don't know. We're just going to kind of wait and see what happens. But it's a possibility, not saying it's definite, but I think probably it is a distinct possibility that there's going to be something to distract us all or to try to distract us all from what's really going on. And part of it could be, you know, that coronavirus from China too. That could be part of the thing that's going on as well. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out. It'll all become clear once it happens. And so I can't see them allowing all of this to start happening without fighting back in some way. And so, and we've known them to do some things like that before. So that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.